I always say when I write my autobiography, it will be the hero and the villain of the story at the same time.
Yes. We grew up in a great home, but I think it would have been better if he could have shown that vulnerability more when we were kids and teenagers. We could have talked to him about certain things and so on and so forth that maybe those subjects were taboo in our family.
Welcome to your daily health briefing. I'm Dr. Albert Takem. This show is here to help you navigate the complex U.S. medical system, one step at a time. Whether you are decoding a new diagnosis, fighting for a referral, or just trying to stay informed, you are in the right place. Let's get into the science. Losing a parent changes something in you, especially when that relationship shaped who you became. In this episode, Alan and I talk about fathers, grief, vulnerability, and the difference between having a father as an authority figure and knowing him as a human being. We also explore how that kind of loss can change the way we relate to other people's pain. Thank you for staying with us. We have the wonderful clinical mental health therapist Alan Elliott with us. Now, in the previous segment, we were talking about, depression or roles as Black men with roles of responsibility and how we struggle. And in my dealings, one of the reasons why I cried in the psychologist's office about 15 years ago was because I was talking about my mother, and it brought up my father.
Yes.
With whom I've had a complicated relationship. A lot of who I am and what I am today is because of my father.
Okay.
But a lot of things that also happened hurt me and hurt my family from my father. So at the same time, he is, I always say when I write my autobiography, it will be the hero and the villain of the story at the same time.
Yes.
Thank God he's still alive. And he didn't. So we've had time to mend certain fences, broken fences.
Yes.
Now, in your case, your father died. How was your relationship with your father? Was he hero, villain, or both?
I would say mostly hero. I'm gonna say 90% hero. I won't call it villain. I think my father, who ironically is also a clinician, was a clinician. So I followed in his footsteps. I'm going to say, I won't call it villain. I just think my father fell into some of the same situations that we fall into as leaders, where he couldn't show weakness or vulnerability. I will say, though, as he got older and more seasoned, he started showing that more. But when we were kids, he didn't show that. He showed all strength and he's in control and discipline. And my home was very conservative. So we grew up in a great home, but I think it would have been better if he could have shown that vulnerability more when we were kids and teenagers. We could have talked to him about certain things and so on and so forth that maybe those subjects were taboo in our family. But as he got older, and give him credit, he became more vulnerable, and we were able to talk to him more.
Okay.
So overall, he was definitely my hero.
So did you guys have like a good relationship?
We did.
When
we had a very good relationship.
In your later years?
Yes.
Or when you were younger?
I would say in the later years, very good. I think when I was younger, it was more father-son.
Yeah.
You're going to do what I tell you to do, and that's the end of it. So it was more traditional father-son. He was always a great parent, great provider, but it was more father-son. And then, I'm in charge and you're the son. But as I became an adult, it definitely was a great relationship.
Okay. Yes. So when your father passed, what part did you miss? Because when you were younger, and I say this because when you were younger, he was the father, the provider, you were the child, you did as he said. When did you guys have a relationship where you said, okay, this is my dad?
Right.
Rather than my father?
I think definitely as, in my adult years, I'm trying to pinpoint, it's a great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. But I definitely think it was maybe when I was in my 30s, 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 when I that I started really, when I was in college and then going into my 30s, that I could really see that it's more dad than father there. And, part of it's also me recognizing it. A lot of parts of him was always dad, but I just didn't recognize it. But as I become more older and seasoned and dealing with people, then I could see that, a lot of the dad stuff was there the whole time. I just didn't. So part of that's on me.
Okay. So what part of him do you miss the most?
Doc, you trying to get me emotional again? Let's go.
No,
I
think it's I think it's the foundation.
It is
of your vocation.
It
right?
is. It is. It really is. It's a good question. I mean, just so many things. Just him being, encouraging, a provider. Just doing his best. Doing his very best to put his foot forward for his family. Somebody that I can talk to about anything, no judgment or anything like that. As he got older, any of the judgment that I felt as a kid, he didn't have that as I got older. So just the conversation with him, his company, all those things I miss.
Okay. So the relationship was really solid before
he really died. Was. It really was.
So did he die unexpectedly or?
Yeah. Unfortunately, he had cancer, and when he got it progressed pretty quickly. So it was unexpected. And so it was. But we did have time. We did have some time to prepare. It wasn't like overnight. It was about 2 years he battled with it. And so we had time to prepare, and he had time to make sure everything's together in terms of his spirituality and his family and all of that.
Okay.
Yes.
So how does that experience inform the way you relate with patients? Because that's a depth you can have with a patient that somebody who has not, or a depth of rapport that someone who hasn't been through that will never have.
Absolutely. And I think you just said it best. You really don't know what it's like to lose a parent or someone a loved one in your immediate family or someone that's really close to you until you actually have dealt with it. And then you understand it. Now, obviously, everybody's situation is different. I can think of if someone lost someone suddenly, that's probably way different from me being able to prepare with my dad. So I'm not trying to say it's all the same, but I can at least connect on some level in terms of feeling that loss and, missing the person and feeling that loss. And then how do you move forward? Therapy really, I think, is instrumental in helping people with just bereavement. And if it goes beyond bereavement into depression, it's very helpful.
A father can be a provider, a disciplinarian, a role model, and also a person we wish we had known more deeply. Grief often brings all of that back at once, and sometimes understanding what we lost helps us understand the people we are still trying to help. This has been the Daily Brief. Medicine is not about certainty. It is about responsibility. Decisions are often made with incomplete information, but they are always made with your safety in mind. In a system that can feel rushed and fragmented, you deserve clarity, continuity, and an advocate who sees the whole picture. I am Dr. Albert Takem, your physician ally, high-level science, human-level care. I will see you at the next briefing, or I will see you in the clinic.